If smoking were invented today, we would call it a dangerous new trend. We would debate it on podcasts, governments would regulate it, scientists would study it. But smoking wasn't invented in a laboratory or a factory. It may have been discovered before farming, before writing, before cities, before civilization itself. Which means the habit billions of people associate with modern addiction might actually be rooted in something far older, something buried deep in human evolution. And if that's true, then smoking isn't just a product of history, it's a window into who we've always been. Picture this carefully. You're sitting around a fire, not in ancient times, just a small flame on a cool night. Smoke drifts upward in slow spirals, carrying the scent of burning wood into the dark. Without thinking, you breathe it in. It lingers for a second before dissolving into your lungs. Fire does that. It feels ancient in a way almost nothing else does. Now strip that moment of everything modern. No streetlights glowing beyond the trees, no distant engines, no glowing screens waiting in your pocket. Just darkness pressing in from every direction, and a small circle of humans huddled around the only thing keeping predators away. For nearly 1,000,000 years, that flame was the difference between life and death. The earliest solid evidence of controlled fire dates back roughly 1,000,000 years to sites like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. Fire meant warmth. It meant cooked food and more usable calories. It meant protection from predators whose eyes could pierce the night better than ours ever could. It extended the day, but fire always produces smoke. Thick, unavoidable smoke. Every ancestor who sat near a flame inhaled it daily. Breathing smoke wasn't optional. It was simply part of being human. And this is where something subtle may have changed everything. When plants burn, they release more than heat and ash. They release chemical compounds, alkaloids, aromatic oils, molecules that interact with the nervous system. Most of the time, nothing dramatic would happen. But occasionally, a particular plant might produce a different effect. A mild euphoria, a calming sensation, a shift in perception that felt noticeable. At some point, someone paid attention. Imagine sitting downwind of a fire where a certain plant has been thrown onto the flames. The smoke smells sharper, sweeter, stranger. Your body feels lighter. Your thoughts feel slightly altered. You don't have language for it. You don't call it intoxication. But you remember it. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. If something changes how we feel, we test it again. The next time wood is gathered, that plant is added deliberately. The effect returns. Now it's no longer an accident. It's an experiment. And that moment, that simple act of repeating a cause to recreate an effect, may be the true beginning of smoking. Archaeology offers fragments of proof. In Central Asia, burial sites dating back around 2,500 years contain heated stones and cannabis residue. In the Americas, chemical traces of tobacco have been found in ancient pipes over 3,000 years old. But plant matter decays quickly. Leaves rot, wooden pipes crumble, smoke leaves almost no trace in the soil. The absence of older evidence doesn't mean earlier humans weren't experimenting. Humans have lived beside fire for nearly 1,000,000 years. If certain smoke altered the mind even slightly, how many generations would it take before someone noticed? 10? 100? 1,000? Or was it noticed almost immediately? If the first experiments with smoke began as curiosity, they didn't stay that way for long. Across continents and across thousands of years, the act of inhaling smoke began to take on meaning. It became ritual. It became medicine. It became a way of connecting the visible world with the invisible one. In parts of Central Asia, groups gathered inside enclosed spaces and threw hemp onto heated stones, breathing the thick vapor together. Ancient historians describe them howling with pleasure inside their tents. For centuries, people assumed the story was exaggerated. Then, archaeologists uncovered the stones, the residues, the physical traces of exactly what had been written down. The ritual was real. In the Americas, tobacco was not a casual habit. It was sacred. Smoke was believed to carry prayers upward. A pipe was not just an object. It was a tool of ceremony. Even in ancient Egypt and Greece, inhaling the vapors of certain herbs was recorded as a form of medicine. Physicians recommended smoke for respiratory conditions. What's remarkable is not that smoking appeared in one place, it's that it appeared everywhere. Different plants, different rituals, different meanings, yet the same basic behavior: fire, plant, breath. This pattern has led some researchers to propose something bold. The desire to alter consciousness may not be a cultural accident, it may be a built-in human drive. Just as we seek food when we're hungry and water when we're thirsty, we may also seek moments where perception shifts, where animals do it too. The impulse to change one's state of awareness may be older than humanity itself. If that's true, then smoking was never simply about nicotine or cannabis or any single plant. It was about exploration, about noticing that the mind is not fixed, that it can be nudged, stretched, altered. But something changed. For most of its history, smoke was controlled by ritual. It was embedded in rules, in ceremonies, in limits. It belonged to specific moments, specific spaces, specific meanings. You did not inhale casually, you inhaled with intention. Then came agriculture, trade routes, industrialization, mass production. Tobacco, once sacred in many cultures, became commodity. By the time cigarettes were engineered to burn evenly and efficiently, the act of smoking had been detached from ritual entirely. It became portable, constant, profitable. And with industrialization came manipulation, additives designed to increase absorption. Marketing campaigns aimed at the young. The contrast is stark: fire, plant, breath. That continuity is uncomfortable. For nearly 1,000,000 years, humans have lived beside smoke. It warmed them, protected them, altered them, bound them together. It shaped stories told at night. When did humans first realize they could change their own consciousness? When did they first understand that the mind was not fixed, but flexible? The exact date may be lost forever. Plant fibers decay. Ash scatters. Smoke leaves no fossil. Fire and breath have been intertwined for longer than memory. And tonight, if you sit beside a flame and watch the smoke rise into the dark, you are participating in something that stretches back beyond history. Not because smoking is modern, but because curiosity is ancient.